Hello and welcome back to another YouTube video. Hi, I'm Speeder. Okay, welcome back. I have been making a lot of Minecraft videos lately, which I'm surprised are even working. But today, Saturday, May 7th, I am making a Keeper of the Movies video. I won't post this until next week, just so I can keep my schedule correct. But, yeah, I'm making it today because I have time in my schedule to do so. Started making some pretty strict schedules to make sure that I can get everything done in a day I need to. So I have till 1:30 to make this video. It's 12:41, and I can technically cut into my reading time, which I made purposefully after this, part of my reading time after this. So I technically have till about 1:50. It's 12:42, but I don't think that it will be that long. But today, if you haven't seen the title of today's video, I'm finally returning to Dragon Prince reviews, which means that today's video is my review of the Dragon Prince Season 3, Episode 1, Sol Regem. So I have with me here a Google Doc which has everything that happens in the episode. I am not doing a script for this one, like I've done previously. And I will be making these reviews on the Dragon Prince until I finish reviewing every single episode in the Dragon Prince Season 3. So those are the videos you can expect in the future. But, yeah. If you haven't seen these reviews before that I do for individual episode reviews in TV, or if you've seen some of the earlier ones where I did things a little bit differently, basically what I do is I just go over everything that happens in the episode and talk about it. And it's kind of in a podcast style. You don't have to even look at the screen because there's nothing interesting to see. It's just a blank screen. So you can just set your phone down, listen to it while you're doing anything else. In future, I want to add gaming stuff in the background, but not right now. Because the game that I want to do in the background is Breath of the Wild, and my equipment for recording on the Switch is currently malfunctioning, which is fun. But, anyways. Yeah, so I'm just gonna get started on this. This video will contain spoilers for the Dragon Prince Season 3, Episode 1, and can have potential spoilers for all of Seasons 1 and 2. Also, I'm super excited for Season 4 to come out. It was a part of, like, the Netflix announcement thing this time, which was awesome, and it also has the, it's official, another season is coming thing, so hopefully we're getting it soon. I don't know. Also, we just got the new Percy Jackson casting for Annabeth and Grover. Fantastic. Love it. So, now that we're up to date and explained, I'm just going to get into this. Okay, so we start off the episode a long time ago, right before the wars between the human kingdoms and Zadia began, when the human kingdoms and Zadia were one, before they were separated to the east and the west. So, my first note was, it starts with some backstory on Sol Regem. He meets with a human who uses dark magic, who implies that the staff, which he has, which looks like Viren's, was a gift from a magical being. So, basically, Sol Regem has a meeting with this human mage who's using dark magic, right? I believe we had a glimpse of this sorcerer, or mage, whatever, it's not a sorcerer, this isn't Merlin. I believe we had a glimpse of this guy in the Season 1 intro, briefly, if I remember correctly. And he carries this staff that looks suspiciously like the staff that Viren carries around. that he says was a gift from one of the Great Ones, as he says. Which, my suspicions here, and this hasn't been confirmed yet, so it's not a spoiler. My suspicion is that the person who gave this human the staff was Erebos, and that is the reason that the dragon seems to know who he's talking about in the scene, just from the look on his face. So I would assume, if it is Erebos, that is probably one of the reasons why he's kept in this prison, and why the way to watch him is kept so close to the Dragon King and Queen, because they want to keep a close eye on him. Makes sense to me. That's also could be why he's working with Viren, who also has the same staff. Clearly, he wasn't the one who gave Viren the staff, but yeah. That's just an interesting thing. So Sol Regem is talking to this human, and he's obviously disgusted by dark magic because, it's dark magic. And he says that if this human doesn't give up dark magic, that he will burn down this entire town and everybody in it. So that's nice. So after the human is like, no, you wouldn't, the dragon ends up flying away towards the town to go torch it. But this human ends up using a dark magic spell that lures the dragon back, that produces a fireball, which he then throws at Sol Regem, who is hit in the eyes, goes blind, and ends up incinerating the human, but the staff is shown to most likely have survived, which would make sense since Viren has, if not the same staff, a similar looking one. So Sol Regem is blinded, and he lands in the ocean. And then we learn, so once we've learned all of this, we come back to the present. Let's see. Okay. And Rayla and Callum are trying to find a way to get past Sol Regem. Rayla explains that over the years he's become extremely bitter and angry, which kind of makes sense, but it also makes him to be more of an evil dragon, whereas other ones we've seen have not been so much. I mean, they certainly seem fearsome, but in truth, they're just very protective of the people of Zadia. Thunder was provoked by humans, and that was the only reason that he killed Callum and Ezrin's mom, and all of that. And we haven't met the Dragon Queen yet, so I'm not going to talk about her. But the other dragon we have met, who was saved, did only attack that town when she was being shot at. At least I assume it's a her. I think it was a her. Might have not been. But when this dragon was being shot at was the only time that it attacked this town. So it wasn't actually in the wrong. It was just acting in self-defense. Yeah. But Sol Regem appears to be the first dragon that we met that, though he was provoked years ago, nowadays seems to be genuinely evil. I mean, like, he does initially allow Rayla and Zim to go into Zadia, but when it comes to Callum, he doesn't, which kind of makes sense because of his grudge against dark magic. And but he, even after Rayla tries to convince him that Callum is different, he still doesn't believe her. And he says that, so that's the next thing that happens. They try to sneak past him, but are unsuccessful. We'll get to the reason part a little bit later. Yeah, so Rayla suggests stealth. She says that they need a way to fool his senses, which means sense of smell and hearing. Callum also makes a comment saying that this sounds like Moon Arcanum stuff. And there's a moment here where it kind of seems like Rayla is flirting with Callum, it's kind of funny. I had to make a note of that. have to make it out of every rayla moment that I ever see. Let's see. So then we go to the breach between Catullus and Zadia, and obviously we know that Amaya is the general who runs this place, and a soldier who I assume is of some higher rank, because of his armor and just the way he is just makes me think that he's like a commander or something. He says that they should abandon the breach because they don't have the manpower to hold it. Then we go back to Callum and Rayla again. They are trying to sneak past Sol Regem, but are unsuccessful and are almost killed in the process. They are unsuccessful because Zim is very loud because he's missing Ezrin, which is sad. So then we go back to the breach with Maya, and Commander Gren shows up. And he has a small, heartfelt reunion with Maya, which was really cute. And honestly, with these two, I don't know whether to ship them or call them best friends. I would want to call them best friends. I think they're best friends, but I don't know which one. But based on other things, I'm going to guess that they're just best friends. Anyways. Sorry. Yeah, but so they have this heartfelt reunion. And Maya says that she thinks that the only way for them to win is to completely destroy the breach. So then we go back to Rayla and Callum, and Zim. And Rayla decides that the only way that they're going to be able to do this is, since they can't fight him, they can't run, they can't sneak. The only way to do it is to talk to him and try to reason with him. So she does this. She says that they've been traveling through the human kingdoms, transporting Zim. At first, Sol Regem doesn't believe her that Zim is alive, but she provides proof by allowing him to smell Zim, and he realizes that she is, in fact, correct and not lying to him. And so he says that he will let her and Zim pass after a little bit of convincing, but he says that Callum cannot pass, and Callum's like, all right, I'll go home. And Rayla's like, no, but then Sol Regem is like, haha, you thought, no, you're gonna die. It's either all of you die or just Callum. But then Rayla tries to reason with Sol Regem again, saying all of this nice stuff about Callum. She's like, he's great, he's different, he looked past human prejudice, and he's my friend, my best friend. I'm feeling a little more than your best friend, but okay. I'm sorry, I am a hardcore shipper of these two. All the time, every day, always. I made like a slideshow of my favorite ships of all time from TV shows and movies, and even some books, and they are on there. 100%. They are on there. I just love them so much. Yeah. So, she says all of these things, and at first it seems like Sol Regem might agree, but then he smells Callum, and he says that he smells dark magic on him, which kind of makes sense, because he did use dark magic back at the camp when they were trying to save the dragon. But of course now he felt really bad about that, and he did suffer the consequences, and now he knows how to use wind magic, primal magic. But, alas, Sol Regem doesn't know this, and even if they told him, he probably wouldn't have made an exception anyway. So he once again says that Callum must die. Uh, so after a little bit, Callum and Rayla realize that he has to recharge his fire, and so he can't blast them immediately. So they try to come up with a plan once again to fool his senses and get past him. Callum, of course, comes up with his wacky plan that he always will come up with, where he says that he should use Aspero to move his scarf away from them to fool Sol Regem and get him to go elsewhere. Raylo thinks that this is a stupid idea, as usual. This is generally how this thing goes, and says that she should wear his scarf and run the other direction since she's quicker than Sol Regem. She thinks that she can get away, distract him for a while Callum and Zim, sorry, because Ezra isn't in this episode until the very end. So Callum and Zim can escape, and then she'll follow afterwards. So Callum kind of rubs some sweat onto it because, he hasn't bathed in 2 weeks, as he says, which kind of makes sense because he's been on the road. And I can't even imagine how completely stinky these two are, but anyways. I mean, technically he has. He was in the river for a time. It wasn't like an actual bath, but he was in the river. Oh gosh. Anyways. So he then gives the scarf to Rayla, and then they have this little moment where he adjusts the scarf, and they look at each other, and then Rayla looks like she's gonna tell him something again, and it's like all awkward. But then Sol Regem is like, I'm going to kill you. Right? Classic villain stuff, right? Yeah. So, back at the breach, Amaya and her soldiers have set up several, barrels of some kind of blasting substance. Maybe gunpowder. Is blasting jelly a real thing, or is that just an avatar? I don't know. I didn't even know. Anyways, some sort of substance that will blow things up. Maybe gunpowder. And they run a wire through it that they're going to pull to set off the whole thing. But once they go to pull the thing, they discover that it has been cut, and a Sunfire Elf on the other side, who appears to be the leader and carries one of those blades that remains as hot as it was when it was first forged for 1,000 years thing, has disabled the trigger, and Amaya decides that the only way to fix this is to go and set it off herself. So back at Rayla and Callum, Rayla has run off to try and distract the dragon, and she runs away from him several times, is able to avoid one of his blasts, but eventually is covered up by a small rock slide. And of course, Callum is very concerned by this. Now we're back at the breach, since we switch between the breach and the squad quite a lot in this episode, especially in this part of the episode. So we go back to Amaya. She has a small fight with the Sunfire Elf leader, and she ends up losing the torch that she brought, but she is able to use this woman's fire sword, basically, to set him off, and the breach is destroyed. Maya ends up helping the Sunfire Elf up, because she is hanging off of a cliff, and she is captured. So now, for the final time, we go back to Callum and Rayla, and as usual, neither of their plans work completely successfully, and they have to combine their plans. Of course, Rayla says that Callum's plan is stupid, so she decides to use her own plan, which doesn't go completely right, and so they end up using Callum's plan into it. That's generally how it goes, and I love the teamwork that they have. It's absolutely fantastic. So, once Rayla is able to free herself kind of from the rocks in order to save her, Callum tells her to throw the scarf. She does, and he uses Aspero to lead it through an archway that is just small enough and just big enough for the dragon to get through it, but not back out. So he lures the dragon into this, who is now trapped for a time, allowing him, Rayla, and Zim to escape. Now, for the first time and the last time in this episode, we are back in Catalis, at the castle. So Viren is still down in the dungeons, and Erebos' bug creature is telling him to be patient. The court is deciding whether or not they should execute Viren when suddenly they are interrupted by Ezran and Corvus showing up on the back of two Banthers, and Ezran is immediately given the crown to become King of Catalis. That is the episode. This isn't one of my favorite episodes, and it's definitely a big setup episode. And it focuses on 3 different storylines. We have Callum, Rayla, and Zim trying to get past Sol Regem, Amaya and her soldiers trying to blow up the breach, and eventually at the end, Ezran showing up at the castle. So honestly, not a lot happens in this episode, but also a lot happens in this episode. Callum and Rayla are able to get past their first obstacle in Zadia. Ezran is now about to become king, officially, and Amaya has destroyed the breach and has been captured. So both not very much happened and a lot happened. Like I said, this is a pretty good episode regardless, and I think every episode in this season is good. Though this is one of the weaker ones, which is why I don't have as much to say on it. There are some moments with Callum and Rayla, and there's some great action in this episode and some great storylines and problem solving. But overall, it's just kind of a normal episode, and at the same time, not normal. This is a weird kind of in-between place between, like, 2 of the best episodes in the show, with Callum understanding the Sky Arcanum, and the rest of Season 3. Is just kind of the bridge. That's kind of what this episode is. But it's still good, and I still enjoy it. But it's not one that I rewatch as much as some others. That's all I'm saying. I don't really have much else to say on this episode. It was good. I enjoy it. Not as much as some others. It's an alright episode. It would go somewhere in the middle if I were to rank all of these, which I will eventually, probably, actually. Yeah. So that's that. That is the review of this episode. It's kind of in the middle. Now I'm going to give you guys my usual end of video thing, where I tell you guys the next 4 weeks worth of videos for everything. So, by the time that this video is posted, I should have already posted the Lynn versus Dex side character tournament episode. So the next 4 Keeper of the Books videos will be all side character tournament things. There'll be Annabeth versus Biana, Keith versus Hermione, and Holt versus Roden, and who won the Lynn vs. Dex thing? Because I, for some reason, didn't write that down. Why did I not write that down? I think Dex won. I think. Was it Dex? I feel like it was Dex. So I think it's Dex versus whoever wins the Annabeth versus Biana round. But don't quote me on that. I'll have to double check. Anyways, so for this channel, Keeper of the Movies, my next 4 videos will be the Dragon Prince Season 3 Episode 2 review, the Dragon Prince Season 3 Episode 3 review, and the Dragon Prince Season 3 Episode 4 review. And for Keeper of the Games, the next 4 weeks worth of videos, I believe, are, besides the fact that there are pretty much constant Minecraft videos coming out, the official ones will all be Breath of the Wild videos that are in my backlog. So, anyways, you can go check out my other 2 channels. They're on my main page of this channel and also on my featured channels page. You can also check out my brother's channel, Palar Gaming. Makes pretty good content over there. It's a gaming channel, if that wasn't clear enough. As for my other 2 channels, I have my gaming channel, Keeper of the Games, and my other channel, Keeper of the Books, which was my original channel, where I talk about books in various forms. Currently, I'm doing a side character tournament where I am comparing a bunch of side characters from some of my favorite series and deciding which of these is the best. So yeah, you can go check those 2 out. That's all I have to say. Yeah, I'll see you guys next time. Bye.